And we're looking around, and we look down, and all of a sudden, the dog took care of the disposal for us. It was nasty.
What is it about dogs and just liking shit? I don't understand.
No doggy kisses for me, especially not French kisses. I see these people that do that, man. I ain't doing that. I know it's for toilet paper.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, Hey everybody, this is Jason Hamlet, and you are listening to the IHUNT Podcast. The IHUNT Podcast is dedicated to bringing you guests from all over this great country who share the same passion as you do, the great outdoors, and more precisely, hunting and fishing. Our guests will range from experts to people just like you and me, each of whom will be able to provide us personal insight into the tactics and strategies they use in their neck of the woods. From hooks, hooves, wings, and webs, we will cover it all. As always, subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. And don't forget to rate and review. That means a lot. Thanks for listening, and let's get to the show. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the IHUNT Podcast. This is episode number 016 with Chris, the RealWorld Redneck. This episode is brought to you by Campfire TP Grills. If you're like me, you enjoy and love the taste of cooking your meat, either pork chops or steak or that wild game that you happen to get over a nice, beautiful open fire out in your backyard. There's just nothing better than getting that wood taste and that smoked wood taste infused into what you're cooking, and just a feeling of sitting around that campfire and cooking dinner and enjoying it afterwards. I mean, it's just it doesn't get much better than that. And if you're like me, you've struggled finding a effective way to cook over an open campfire. I've went as far to try to prop it up with sticks over my fire pit and put a grate on it, and I've tried to hillbilly my way into achieving it, but it always ends up in some sort of a near disaster where something's about to fall in the fire, and it can be a bit of a hassle, and there's not a whole lot of products out there that ease the struggle and make it easier for us. Until now, Campfire TP Grill is a unique TP style grill that you place in your fire pit, and it's actually in the shape of a teepee to where you lean your logs on the frame of the teepee. This is designed to give your fire more oxygen and to create and to suck air from the lower part of your fire, and it creates a vortex to the top of the teepee to make a hotter, better fire. And then you have the grill top, which is adjustable and rotating, and it's easy to install and remove. So you can have you can get your fire started with using the TP. You can add the grill top when you're ready to start cooking out, and then remove the grill top just as easily to sit back and enjoy a nice night around the campfire, roasting some marshmallows with your family. This really makes campfire cooking without all the work and hassle. To pick up your own Campfire TP grill, simply go over to their website, www.tpgrills.com. That is TIPIGRILLS.com, and check out their product. They have a bunch of different attachments, a bunch of different sizes to fit whatever need you desire. This episode is also brought to you by Audible.com. Audible.com offers you over 200,000 titles of books that you are able to listen to by wonderful narrators and enjoy on the go while you're doing chores, yard work, whatever it is you're doing. You can seamlessly read that book on your tablet or iPhone while you're sitting in bed at night, and then you can pick it up right where you left off the next morning on your drive to work and listen to it in the car, or while you're at work, or like I said, doing chores, anything like that that you happen to be doing, and you want to put some headphones in and enjoy a great piece of literature. Like I said, they have over 200,000 titles to choose from. I know you can find something that you're interested in on there and something that you'd want to learn more about and listen to. So check out audible.com. Go to my website, www.theihuntpodcast.com, for your free 30-day trial. Just simply click on the Audible link on my website, and it'll take you to Audible and give you a free 30-day trial. That's a great way to help out the show and support the people who are supporting the show. I would really appreciate it. And I have a big monster announcement for the iHunt podcast. The iHunt podcast is teaming up with Sentinel Decoys to give you a chance to win one of these fabulous three-headed decoys. All you have to do to enter to win is to participate in the Sentinel Decoys fan questions. How you can do that is to check my Twitter feed at the IHUNTpodcast.com for the tweet that is announcing our next guest and opening it up towards 2 questions. It's going to start next week with our guest Lindsay Perisco, who is coming on to chat about getting fit for the hunting season. So if you have any questions for her, simply go to my Twitter feed, find that tweet. It will definitely be up before this podcast gets put up. Reply to that tweet with your question, and that will get you automatically entered in to win one of these decoys. We're going to be giving away one in the next 4 weeks, and you will have 4 chances to enter. You can enter one time in the next 4 weeks, or you can get 4 entries in by participating in the fan question segment of the show every week. So follow along with me on Twitter and be on the lookout for that tweet each week and get your question in, and you will be entered in to get one of these fabulous decoys. I'm pretty excited. I appreciate Steve Henson over there at Sentinel Decoys for donating one of these to the show so that we can get one of these in one of our lucky listeners' hands. Okay, guys, on today's show, I have Chris, the Real World Redneck. We have a lot of fun chatting about all types of things. We talk a little bit about hunting, a little bit about fishing, and a lot about life. And at the end of the show, like the last 20 minutes, we get to talking about our struggles with podcasting. So I hope you all find that interesting. If not, like I said, once we start talking about that in the last 20 minutes, and if you find like it's not interesting, you can go ahead and shut it off, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But we had a lot of fun chatting, and the conversation bounces all over the place, and it was a lot of fun and pretty entertaining, and I think you guys will enjoy it. This is actually, I guess you can call it some kind of a bycast or a co-cast. I don't know what you'd call it, but Chris is actually going to be releasing the same interview we had on his podcast, the Real World Redneck podcast. So check out his podcast. Obviously, I know you're listening to mine now, so you're probably not going to want to listen to his latest episode, which will be episode 017, because it's going to be the exact same thing you're listening to on this podcast. But check out his previous podcasts. His podcast normally takes about 15 or 20 minutes to listen to, and he's giving you real world... He's giving you redneck tips for a redneck lifestyle, and you can pick up a lot of great, fun, neat things if you just check out his show. And that's it, guys. We'll go ahead and get right into it. Enjoy the podcast, and I'll see you on the other side.
tight in redneck paradise. Now I might get...
Chris, the real world redneck, man. Great to have you stopping by and chat with. I guess not stopping by, but on the phone to chat with me. It's been a little bit of a hassle to get together. Last night I fell asleep on you. You live out in a different time zone. I passed out with the boy.
Yeah, no problem, man. Glad to talk to you, Jason. I know those things happen. I've been there myself. I got 3 youngins, so I know what it's like to lay down with them, to put them to bed, and then you think you're going to be up, and then you wake up and it's morning.
Yeah, they'll wear you out. Especially I got up at 4:45 to go hit the muskie lake and do some muskie fishing, and didn't catch one, but definitely wore me out being out in that sun.
That is something I have never done.
You ain't never fished for muskie?
Never have.
You got any lakes down there with muskie in them that you know of, or I know they're more northern fish, but I think they have some in Kentucky in that area. But where I don't even know where they're from.
Yeah, so southern Illinois, if you follow I-70 over where it hits 57, the 2 interstates there, that's a town called Effingham. A lot of people have heard of it, and we're south of there, so we're in the southern chunk of Illinois. Okay. And there might be some lakes around but I don't hear guys talking about muskie fishing much around here. We're mainly bass and bluegill and crappie. I gotcha.
And you live on a farm, if I remember correctly, right?
That is correct. I actually live across the road from where I grew up. My mom and dad still live on the farm where I was raised. And about 14 years ago or so, we moved back to right across the road. And I live on 80 acres that they used to farm, and now we cash rent it out. And then we've got another piece about 4 miles or so down the road, another block of acreage that we farm also. So, yep.
That's awesome. You said you cash rent it out. What does that mean? Like somebody else farms the land, or do you do the farming?
That's right. We pay somebody else. They just pay, and you can do that different ways there. But the way we do it is an adjustable cash rent, they call it. So depending on the yield, the better the yield, we get a bonus and we get more rental. So we still kind of get to watch the farm, the crop unfold and pray for rain and that type of thing. It's sort of like we're still farming, but we don't have all the stress of, all the equipment and everything that you got in $1 million that you got to have to put out the crop. So it works out really nice.
Yeah, and you don't have to put out the work either.
That's right. Yeah.
But you got some animals though, right?
We do. We're already going to the sheep farming. I'm hesitant to bring up the sheep after the way you guys were joking on Twitter the other night. We might as well go ahead and get that out of the way.
Might as well, yeah.
Yeah, we've got. I don't like to mow, Jason. So I've fenced in a dang farm practically, and we've got electric fence, and I've got a couple different. Probably 5 acres, 2 different 5-acre pastures, and we run sheep out there. And I rotate them back and forth. When they eat one area down, let the other one grow back, and then I just move them over into that. And they do my weed eating for me, so it works pretty slick.
Yeah, I've thought about getting a couple goats up here in the suburbs. That's how much I hate freaking mowing.
No kidding. The one thing about sheep is they're a whole lot easier to keep in than the goats. I looked at goats too, but people that I've talked to, it's like, man, you got to have Fort Knox to keep them guys in the pen. And I'm able to keep these sheep in just with 3 strands of electric wire. So, I mean, they're not maintenance free by any means, but it's actually kind of fun messing with them and making new pasture and whatnot. I enjoy it.
Did you have you been able to train any to get on any rabbits for you, like Steve Miller?
Not yet. I don't think I want to get him that tame. I'm going to leave that one alone.
I'm sure he'd come down and get you hooked up.
Yeah, I'm sure he would too. Maybe we could work that out.
Now, so 80 acres of property you got. Is that where you do the majority of your hunting? Is on your property and your parents' property, I imagine, or is there?
Yes, I tell you what, I'm blessed in that department. I've got this 80 that I live on, and we got some good bucks here, but we don't really have the numbers that the other farm down the road has. it's about 4 miles down the road, and we've got a block of agriculture ground there that's either corn, beans, or wheat, and then there's brush. We're right on the edge of a real nice creek bottom, real brushy, and that's the adjoining property. It's kind of the bedding area, and then my area becomes the feeding area, and then there's a slough, a ditch that runs right down the middle of it. I call it Big Buck Bottoms because that's where we seem to get all the big ones.
Oh yeah,
man, we've put a bunch of them on from there, but that's actually the farm where we put all of them on the wall so far. Haven't got any great big ones here where I live. I've got a few does over the years, but yeah, so I've got those 2 spots, and then a couple of my hunting buddies actually have a couple more separate farms as well. So yeah, I've got a lot of places to hunt, thankfully.
Lucky you, man.
I know, man. I know. Our numbers are down though, Jason. I don't know if yours are. Our numbers are really down here. I've been steadily watching it decline last few years to the point that I've actually quit shooting does because I'm not seeing as many as I want to when I hunt.
You know, I've heard some people around here saying that the deer numbers are going down. I can't speak from a personal standpoint because I've been hunting for 3 years, so I can't say what it used to be like 10 years ago or whatnot. But yeah, I've heard some people around here kind of complaining about the deer numbers going down, and I'm not really sure what it could be contributing to that, except for just well, you know what though? I mean, I do know the DNR this season has raised some of the bag limits in a few counties. Nothing's been dropped, so they must be viewing it as a population going up.
I'll be darned. Well, that's good. Yeah, that I don't see it here. I see pockets of them. And I've kind of seen the whole rise, I guess, and fall of the deer population here over the years, because we didn't used to have any when I was a kid. You wouldn't see deer around here. And then I can't remember, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I feel like it peaked, and you were just everywhere. You'd go out and see 10 or 12 at almost every sit. And then they got after the does, and that was almost too many. There were car crashes and whatnot, and overgrazing the crops. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of when they went to the more liberal tags here too. And then I think they've gotten ahead of them now though. And then I assume you guys probably in 2012 probably had that drought like we did here, where it just burned everything to a crisp.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Water holes dried up, and people were finding big mature bucks just laying dead in ditches and lakes, floating dead in lakes, and I think that took a toll too. But,
I mean, one thing that I've actually heard about, like, what could be driving the population down. There's some arguments to there's actually some states that are starting to pass laws to have a designated shed hunting season. That they see that the shed hunting is actually contributing to the fall of the deer population, because the theory is you guys, it's coming off the end of the winter when those deer are the most fatigued, the most stressed, in the most vulnerable condition they are, and that's normally when deer season ends and they can recuperate. But now hunters going in to shed hunt, and what they're doing is they're pushing those deer and getting them moving and adding more stress to it, and they're seeing that is contributing to some loss of population. And they're actually, like I said, there are states who are actually making a specific shed hunting season, and it's well after the hunting season has ended.
I'll be darned. Interesting theory. I hadn't heard that one. But I know those deer do get pushed. The way ours is set up in Illinois, we've got a really nice 3-month bow hunting season. 3.5 it goes into the middle of January, but our shotgun season is really concentrated. There's just a week, the third weekend in November, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the only gun hunting we have in November, and then we've got another one in December. Okay. And that's 4 days. So there's 7 days, and I mean everybody comes out of the woodwork and shotgun hunts. And
right.
I mean by Sunday, those poor deer, that's like their tongues are hanging out. They've been pushed so hard, and you can about hear them make their way up the creek. Boom, boom, boom. They're following all kinds of shots after them. I know that pressures them and stresses them out too. So there could be something to that.
Yeah, our gun season is 10 days, and it starts right after, I think it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and it goes for 10 days every year. And then they have a second in the first week of January. But you believe it or not, I have never gun hunted for deer.
No kidding.
Never have.
Well, hey, that's all right. I mean, I did it the opposite. I hunted a long time with a gun, and before I got into the bow hunting side of it. But I'm still blown away by your deer, man. I cannot believe that was your first deer. That thing is a beast. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice job by you.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was obviously we put in a lot of work on that deer, but it was just everything worked out exactly like it was supposed to. If the deer, if he went any other direction, there's no way I could get a shot. I only had really one shooting lane to get him, and he walked right into it 20 yards away. I mean, I guess just God was on my side or something. I don't know. It's
wow.
Well, he actually came in chasing a doe, and she I heard her come first, and she popped out from behind this tree, and I'm like, ah, shit, just another doe. And then she takes off, and he pops out, and he knew, the doe came out, never looked at me, never even knew I was there, went on about her business. But the minute he popped out from behind that tree, he knew exactly what the hell was going on. He looked right at me, was staring at me the entire time, doing his stomping and faking like he was putting his head down like he was going to eat something and snapping back up real quick, trying to get me to move. And I must have sold him, or I don't know if I sold him as much as the doe started making some noise off to his left. And it caught his attention, and so he looped around this brush pile, these trees where I couldn't see him, and I just kind of anticipated that he was going to follow this doe who happened to walk right in my shooting lane. So I just went ahead and drew and was ready, and he popped out right in my shooting lane. I don't even, to be honest with you, I can barely remember, but I don't even think he stopped. But he wasn't. He was definitely walking. I just let her fly, and it was one of probably the next to my boy being born and marrying my wife, probably one of the best moments of my life, hearing him crash through the woods, and then just the dead silence, knowing he fell, and holy shit, that just happened.
Absolutely. It is amazing how it can come together once in a while like that. And I tell people, hunting is really just hours of boredom with intermittent bursts of high, intense adrenaline, just 30 seconds here and there. And it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, that's what I tell my dad, well, my stepdad, because I've been trying to tell him you got to get into hunting. I've been trying to get him to do it, but he's like, oh, I can't sit out there and be bored. Sound like it'd be boring. I'm like, you would think that, but you could go a whole sit and never see a deer, but still have your heart race 7 or 8 times by a squirrel that happens to be in the leaves behind you that you think may be a deer walking, and you're scared to look, and then. It's plus fun just to get out in the woods. I don't know. And when you do see one, and when you do put one down, it's hard to put into words, that feeling.
That's right. Those crunching leaves, I absolutely love that sound. I will never get tired of that. When I quit getting excited and my heart doesn't race so much over a shot, that's when I'm hanging it up. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. It hasn't happened in 30 years. So, I still get pumped even when I see a doe, or it doesn't matter. Something about deer, they're just a neat animal.
Yeah, that's what my buddy, after I had shot that buck, because it was actually, I don't know if you heard the story, I was hunting some property behind his house, and it wasn't his property, but semi-quasi-public land that I was hunting on. And, literally, I walked, I would say it's probably 75 yards from his back patio to where I was hunting at. And I had called him right when it happened. Like, dude, I just shot that 11-pointer. He's like, what? I'm like, because we've had several trail camera pictures of this deer, and it was one we were after. He's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yes, I shot him. He's like, did you stick him good? I'm like, well, I feel like I stuck him good. I definitely hit him. But
well, you don't know a lot of times.
Well, I'm not.
You did, but man, you don't know.
I haven't shot a whole lot of deer, so it's like I think this is my 4th deer I had ever shot. So it's kind of to me, I know it's probably going to take several years from what I've heard to where you actually are able to see the arrow in flight. Like my one buddy, he explains it as he can see that arrow spinning. Like he knows how it's spinning when it's going. It's like I just see it where it hit on the target. So that's
if you're lucky.
the mentality that I had there. And so anyway, I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's down. I heard him crash, and he was like, well, don't get out of that tree stand. Whatever you do, sit up there for an hour. We ain't going to risk pushing him at all.
Right.
So I sat up there and probably smoked about 4 cigarettes, shaking, waiting for him to come through the woods. I just wanted to get down and see a blood trail. I wanted to see something.
Oh, I love seeing that splattered on. Love it.
So I see him walking the woods. The minute he comes, I can see him. I'm jumping down out of the tree stand and running over and checking my arrow and checking everything. And we followed the blood trail and ended up. I mean, he probably only made about 75 yards. But the funny thing about the whole story is my buddy, he was actually planning on Christmas pictures that morning. He didn't make it to them. He told his wife to take the family without him. So.
Oh man, he was in the doghouse.
He said that she understood because he knows. I mean, he put in a lot of work to get that deer with me. I mean, as far as like get me in the right spot and all this checking my trail camera for me since he lived there. He was changing out cards for me all the time and dumping corn down and So it's kind of
Well, that's good, man. And isn't that the fun part of hunting? Also, is getting to share it with somebody. I mean, that's another thing I love is having somebody to go with and do that with. You were mentioning your stepdad or dad and trying to get him hunting. That is one area where I'm blessed in. Also, is my dad's taken me hunting from since I was a little kid. He started taking me quail hunting, and I was running around with him carrying my BB gun along, and he'd let me finish off the crippled ones. And still, even to this day, I still hunt with him. I deer hunt with him, and I mean, if I get one, the first guy I want to go show it to is still my dad. Man, that's awesome. And now I got the next generation coming up. My kids are always going with me. Every stand I put up now is a buddy stand because I almost always have the kids along with me when I hunt.
Are they loving it?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're ate up with it. They're little rednecks like me. Even my daughter is. She's actually a stone cold killer. I got her set up with a muzzle loader and I don't know, of course we're on gun hunting now, but I know you don't have a background on that yet, but that's fun too. But I set her up with a muzzle loader just so it wouldn't kick as much because a shotgun, man, it'll beat the heck out of your shoulder and it's hard to target it. And so she's got a little CVA Wolf muzzle loader, and she is lethal with that thing. She was able to get practiced up with it and didn't beat up her arm too bad, and so she got comfortable with it, and she gets a good rest. And she's knocked down 3 deer already with that thing, and she got one with her bow already. So
wow,
she's way ahead of what I was. I went till I was like 15 before I ever killed a deer.
How old is she?
She's 14 now. She knocked down that doe when she was 12, and then got a little 7-pointer in the second shotgun season. And then the following season, she got one with a bow when she was 13, and then she shot a real nice 8-pointer with her muzzle loader that shotgun season too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is it?
Go ahead. No, I'm done, man.
What is it like seeing your little girl shoot her first deer? What is that experience like?
It was more special than when I got my first one. And that was pretty darn special when I got my first one. That was a big time highlight too. But seeing her get it was even more special, and that's what it's all about.
Now, how does her friends take to her hunting? Has she got hillbilly friends, or redneck?
Yeah.
Sorry, not hillbilly.
No, that's okay. It may be interchangeable. We're pretty redneck around here. This is farm country, small towns. My town is 400 people population. I live out in the country from that. And then, even our school, our enrollment, like in our school, is like 400 people or so.
Oh my God.
That's like a town of 5,000 people. But we're all pretty rural here. And so, kids wear camo to school and, cowboy boots. So, her kids just think it's normal that she, goes deer hunting. If you bring your permit in, it's an excused absence from our school on Fridays. of the shotgun season.
Really?
And there's probably only half the kids in class that day. Literally, probably half the kids deer hunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you had kind of touched earlier. You had said you moved back there. So was it like a conscious decision to move back to an area with 400 people, or is it just what you lived in your whole life? Like, I don't know, like when you say you moved back, were you in like a suburb living area and then decided to move back to the country, or what?
Right. I went off to school. I lived in Indianapolis, going to pharmacy school after I got, of course, that was, I went to junior college for a couple years, and then 3 years in Indianapolis, lived there for one more year, and then we lived in a smaller, we just moved where we could get jobs back to Illinois, but it was in town. So I tried it both ways, and I couldn't take living in town. And then when my daughter came along, that was the final push to get us to move back up to here, near my family, and I wanted to live out in the country. My prerequisite was I had to be able to take a leak in my own yard and not get arrested for it.
Am I not supposed to do that in the suburbs? Cause
hey, do what you want to do is okay with me, but man, sometimes those blue-hairs can make life hard on you in the suburbs, can't they?
Oh, you want to hear about making life hard for you? My boy, he likes to he'll piss in the backyard. No matter where he's at, he'll piss. And he was like, today, I mean, this literally just happened about 2 hours ago. He's like, Dad, I got pee. I'm like, well, go pee. Go on that tree and go pee. So he goes over and pulls his pants on. He's got to pull them all the way down his ankle. And
yeah, there's something about that at that age. My kids do the same thing.
So he starts pissing.
Not my daughter.
Yeah, I would hope not. He starts pissing on the tree, and he gets done, and he just looks at me, and I see his face getting red. And I know exactly what he's doing. He drops a deuce right in the middle of the yard.
Oh.
Lands in his pants. I'm like, what are you doing? And of course, then the wife gets home 20 minutes later, and she comes and says, Mommy, guess what I did? She's like, what? Pooped in the backyard. Come see.
Oh, they're so proud of it.
Oh, he was so proud of it. I blame it on him. It's my fault because when we went fishing last week, they didn't have no bathrooms. He had to poop, so I let him poop outside.
Got to do what you got to do, man.
It's my fault that I've let him know that that's something you could do.
I got a poop story. That happened with I had the kids along, and they were about that. Is your little guy is a couple years old? Is that right? Or
3?
Old? Okay, 3. Yeah, they were about that size. I take them with me no matter what I'm doing. That's just what I do. That's what my parents did with me. I get them right in the middle of everything. I had them out messing around doing something. I was looking at a deer stand or the trail camera or something, and one of them had to drop a deuce. And he did, and the dog was along, and we're looking around, and we look down, and all of a sudden, the dog took care of the disposal for us. It was nasty.
What is it about dogs and just liking shit? I don't understand.
No doggy kisses for me, especially not French kisses. I see these people that do that. Man, I ain't doing that. I know what it's for toilet paper.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, you see them right when they get done pooping. They're right at cleaning up. Oh, this thing's went south in a hurry. 24 minutes in. I hope your listeners are wonderful.
No kidding. Hey, why you got so many edit points in your podcast, Chris? Oh, no reason.
You'll have this hour-long conversation edited down to your 17-minute typical podcast.
There you go, man.
So yeah, your podcast, RealWorld Redneck. How did all that come to be? I know you started about the exact same time I did. It almost looked like in March, right? So
yeah.
What made you want to do a podcast?
Yeah, man. I love podcasts. I cannot believe it when I mention it to people and they don't listen to them. And I just think it's the best media going right now. I flat out, it's amazing to me that you can pick any topic that interests you to learn about. You can listen to it whenever the heck you want, wherever the heck you want, stop it whenever you need to, pick it right back up, hands-free, visually free, and thing can be running in your pocket. I mean, to me, it's just the perfect tool for when you're doing chores or menial things like that. I've gravitated to podcasts and then started listening to them a few years ago, and I've learned so much from them. I could have gone to college that way and learned a heck of a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the back of my mind, I mean, I'm kind of like thinking, well, man, it'd be, and then there's hilarious stuff that happens on the farm. There just is. And I'm like, it'd be fun to talk about some of this stuff. And you ever listen to Survival Podcast, Jack Spirko?
I have not, no.
Yeah, you check that one out, man. You'll love it.
Okay.
He talks about doing a podcast or whatever and how he got started. And then he's like saying, you ought to do, to his audience, us all 100,000 of us, he's pretty big. You can do a podcast and, you should, think about it. And then I heard it on that one, and I heard it on another one that I was listening to. There's one called Big Business, Small Business, Big Marketing. It's out of Australia. Timbo Reed. That is a super good podcast. I could listen to that guy just read the phone book. He is so entertaining. He is wonderful. But he was mentioning it. He was mentioning how the listeners ought to do a podcast too. And I heard that within a week of each other, those two different ones. And I'm like, I should do it. And when I checked into it, of course it's, and I don't know your story either, but you don't know how on earth you're supposed to do a podcast or how any of it works.
No.
And I started looking into it a little bit, and I actually found another podcast called Showrunner, and they go through how to set up your own podcast, basically, and, did the YouTube thing and started researching it a little and thought I'd give it a try. I loved it. Once I did a few of them, I'm like, man, this is almost therapeutic, which is kind of weird sounding, but I mean, it's something very enjoyable to do. And then you get a little feedback from people that really like it. And at first it's just your family and friends helping you out, basically, or the novelty of it or wanting to make fun of you or whatever. Maybe it still is. I don't know, but I don't care. I'll take downloads however I can get them. But it just started kind of sticking, and I got some positive feedback and gained a little steam, gained a little momentum, and started doing it. And I love it. They've helped me a lot, so I kind of want to pay that forward a little bit.
Yeah, how did you go, like, when you sat down to do your first podcast, how much did you struggle talking to air and talking to nobody?
Oh, it was pretty rough, man.
It is.
It was pretty bad. When you hear it, it's pretty cringeworthy. Mine was. And then, I don't know. Of course, I was still learning my way, too. When I tried to publish it, I screwed it and jacked it up somehow. Because if you'll notice, like in my archives, I have no episode 1.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Where I did like the intro and everything, it went off into Ethereum or something. It went off into no man's land. I can't find it. Can't get it back. And I thought, you know what? I don't think that needs to be out there on the interwebs anyway. It's pretty rough. So I've just kind of, and this is going to be I think this is going to be great for my podcast audience just to hear a little bit of the background too, because I've never gone in depth with them about why I did this and how I got started. So this is great, man. But yes, it was pretty rough, and it was pretty weird just sitting there talking to nobody.
Yeah, I still struggle with it, man. Like, as far as like when I'm doing these conversations like me and you are having right now, that's great. That's to me easy. We're just talking on the phone, and people are just going to listen at a later date. That's
right.
That's nothing to me. It's that 10-minute intro that I do every week that I swear to God I record it 15 to 20 times every time I do it.
Yes. Same here, brother. Yeah, I've got lots of outtakes too. I do the exact same thing.
I bet you I've got myself recorded saying dropping F-bombs probably 700 times, I bet, from recording, get in the middle and go, fuck. And I don't know why I'm trying to be so perfect. I mean, I still don't think, no matter how many times I do it, it still don't turn out right to me. So I just need to get over it and just put it up there and let people hear me cuss about it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, see, I like that. I haven't figured out yet for sure what the best way is, but I really think minimal editing and putting I'm real world redneck. Put stuff that happens in the real world. It's like, you're trying to do it and your kid comes in or whatever, or the phone rings. I just think that's realistic, and I like that when I'm listening to podcasts. I don't like highly produced stuff. In fact, I have subscribed and unsubscribed to more highly produced ones. I mean, I've probably got a list of 20 or 30 that I've tried, and after a couple of them, I'm like, I can't take this.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear all that crap in the background. Please just give me something either entertaining or useful.
Yeah, I hear you. One of my favorite podcasts, Bertcast. Have you ever heard Bertcast with Bert Kreischer?
I haven't.
He's a comedian, right? And his best shows, man, are the ones that just drag on for 4.5 hours because him and another comic are just getting wasted in his shed doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's awesome when his kids will come out and you hear him saying goodnight to them and stuff. Like you said, the real world, the real shit, not the the mass produced and I think probably the only really highly produced podcast I like is is Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. I don't think it's that produced, but as far as somebody who it definitely is a produced podcast. I don't even think you.
Oh yeah.
You can't consider what he does a podcast.
He's the real deal. He's another one that I could just listen to, read out of the phone book, and be entertained by it. That man is a genius. His insight, and I could listen to him all night. Do you listen to his other one too, The Common Sense?
I've listened to it a few times. I don't listen to it as much as I have the Hardcore History. It's just so hard to keep squeezing in new podcasts because I got the cycle that I'm on, and it's like I hear something else. I'm like, I'll listen to stuff like that when one of my other podcasts has a slow week or something, and I've ran out, or it's been a slow week at work, and I've listened to all my podcasts.
Yeah. Dude, did you listen to his one about the Mongols?
Oh,
Dan Carlin?
Yes.
Is that not epic?
That is fantastic.
I could not quit watching or listening to that thing. I was like, shut up, kids. Gotta listen to this. It's like I was neglecting everything on earth, trying to listen to that thing and get that thing finished up. I couldn't listen to it fast enough. That was so incredibly interesting. And just the way he talks is just incredible. Just incredible.
That is a pretty damn good impression.
Hey, I do impressions. I can do.
Who else you got?
I don't know.
You gotta have a Christopher Walken. Doesn't everybody have a Christopher Walken?
Okay, you're gonna put me on the spot and make me look ignorant. I'm not up with pop culture very much. I just sit around hunting fish all the time. Who's Christopher Walken?
Oh, if I gotta tell you that, then you obviously don't have an impression for him.
Well, I might.
Walken, God, how do you? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank, but he's been in pretty much about every freaking movie. He's a guy who he talks like this, but this is probably the worst Christopher Walken. I don't know. You Google his ass real quick. Let me see. I'm gonna Google all the movies he's been in.
I'll think of somebody to do while you're doing that. Here, let's see. Yeah. Put myself on the spot now. Shouldn't have done that.
Christopher Walken.
Well, I can do SpongeBob characters. SpongeBob. Yes, SpongeBob. I am finished with those errands.
Yeah, SpongeBob. He's a big one for the kids. My boy loves him.
Yeah, they've always got it on all the time. It's idiocy, but it's funny sometimes.
Yeah, it's one that he could watch and I could actually watch along with him. Okay, let's go. Christopher Walken movies he's been in. Let's go with starting from 2016 back.
Yeah, it needs to be 20 years ago for me on movies. I don't watch any modern ones.
The New Jungle Book, he was King Louie. I don't know if you've seen that. Okay, we'll go back about 20 years. Let's see here.
This will be one of those edit spots.
Yeah, it could be, or it could. Wedding Crashers. He was in Wedding Crashers. You see that?
No.
Oh shit. Stepford Wives. Catch Me If You Can.
I saw some of that.
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. I got Joe Dirt on the DVR right now, dude.
Okay, then yeah, you know Joe. Then he was the.
Joe Dirt.
He's the guy that was at the school. That the mobster guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't do his voice though, man. You'll have to do him.
At least we got past that. Now you
That's what she said. Okay. Sorry, I think I derailed us. What did I derail us on? I can't even remember. Dan Carlin?
Dan Carlin, yeah. He made
Yep.
Where
Sorry,
were we
Dan.
talking about before that? Podcast. Okay, how you got into podcasting, what made you do it. And then, so in Real World Redneck, so you are doing redneck hacks that make you laugh.
That's right. I came up with the Real World Redneck name. Here's how I came up with that, and this will get us off on a whole other tangent.
Well, that's your last name, right?
Redneck?
The Real World Redneck is not your last name?
No.
Oh.
Believe it or not. It was actually hunting shows that made me come up with the first part. And the redneck part, everybody knows I'm a redneck, and I just thought it sounded catchy, throwing them two together. But, oh my gosh, I had to, I don't watch the Outdoor Channel, those shows, and I'm probably ostracizing some of your audience. I don't mean to do that. Some of them are probably good. Like the Casey that you talked to, man, his sounded awesome, his show. But to me, so many of them are just, they're yawning out there when 10 and 12 pointers walk by.
Mm-hmm.
And, to me, I'm like, dude, I've even said that to the TV screen before. This is not the real world. In the real world, I've got tomorrow to hunt, and the weather's crappy, and the wind's out of the east, screaming in my face.
Right.
And it's spitting rain, and I got to pick my kids up at 5 o'clock, so I've got an hour and a half segment to hunt, and I'm like, I'm not yawning at 10 pointers walking by, so that's how I came up with the real world. I want my stuff to be funny, and they're definitely, some of them are backwoods. If you've seen any of my hacks or heard any of my podcasts, I know you have.
Yeah.
Some of them are backwoods, but they're real world stuff that you actually come across and happens. So that's how I came up with it.
Yeah, and the thing I like about your show is you take some of the stuff that you say is simple, but
Right.
it's not stuff that, like, for example, your fish frying episode.
Uh-huh.
I've been filleting fish for I can't tell you how many years, and I'm always filleting them while they're flopping around, flopping in my face, and I've never once thought to myself, I'm going to throw these things in a bucket of ice water for 5 minutes and then fillet them.
Oh, okay. Well, good, man. That's good. That's what I'm shooting for. And a part of you when you're doing this, it's like you're sounding like, I'm thinking, God, you're talking about obvious stuff. You're telling people how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich here, dude. Everybody already knows this, and you're coming across like a know-it-all jerk. So that I have to balance that, and I'm always thinking about that. But man, that's great to hear.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm shooting for.
And it's like I listen to the episode thinking, hey, I fucking fillet fish all the time. I know how to fry fish. I fry fish all the time.
Yeah, skip over this one. Don't even need to try it.
Yeah, but I listened to it. Like I said, I picked that up, and I also never knew that the potatoes could clean my oil. I always cooked the potatoes first because they took the longest, and done the fish afterwards. So shit, I'm like,
hey,
did that last time as well, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I just learned that one. I don't know, a year or two ago. I dropped 1,000 racks of fish before I ever knew that one. And I went to I think it was a New Year's Eve party, and they were frying a bunch of fish. And Jeff, the guy that was doing them, he had potatoes sitting there in one of the racks ready to do that. And he's like, yeah, the grease potatoes clean up the grease. And then, man, the hot grease, this, the hotter your grease, the better you're going to do, the better it's going to work out. Because I've had it. One time I cooked some fish, and I didn't realize I had the dial set wrong on the deep fryer. I didn't have it cranked up all the way to 10 or whatever. I had it just on half power and didn't realize it. And, man, they soaked it up. They soaked up that grease, something fierce, by it being a couple 100 degrees cooler.
Oh, yeah.
They were nasty.
I wonder if, I'm sure this is probably obvious, but that's probably how the whole fish and chips thing came to be, right?
I assume so, yeah.
Just would make sense.
Yep.
You can believe I don't have a deep fryer. I just use my cast iron skillet and throw some oil on it.
Well, that'll work too.
Yeah.
Just like when I'm cooking, a lot of times the word seems to get out. And I'm cooking for my family.
I see.
My mom and dad still live. They live across the street, which is awesome. We get along really well, and so we end up with a lot of people sometimes for a fish fry. Yeah. So I need. It would still work the way you're talking, but you can drop in quite a few fish in that deep fryer and knock them out in about 4 minutes. It works pretty slick.
Yeah. So you've been out on the water at all this season?
Summer is actually when I fish the least. I'm kind of an odd duck in like every area of life, but I don't take the heat like other people. I'm dying out there, and like if there's one mosquito in 40 acres, he will come and get me. I mean, I'm so sweet. They just love me, man. I attract them like crazy. Other people can just be sitting there, and I'm dying. And so I whine, I complain in the summertime. And when other people are whining and complaining when it's 50, like in the fall, I'm in heaven. And you won't hear me complaining even in the wintertime. I can always put more clothes on, but I can only take so many off and not get arrested. But.
Right. So you're the guy that's always finding that little patch of shade every time you're outside.
Oh, man, we were at the Little League game the other night, and I'm trying to find my wife, and I look over, and they have the little on there's the main field they call the Little League field, and then there's the field over to the west of that, and they've got the sponsor banners that hang on the home run fence.
Uh-huh.
And I look over there, and she's huddled down underneath behind that in the shade, drinking her water, taking shelter. I'm like, that's my babe. That's where I'd be. Except I wouldn't be laying in the grass because the chiggers would nail me. But anyway, we fish. Last year and I don't know why we didn't try more in December. If we would have caught some in December, we would have caught fish every month of last year. We went well up into fall and winter with our fishing, well into November, basically into the rut, and then started chasing the deer hot and heavy. Because we always do. We always fish that way anyway. Whether we'll put coveralls on and fish, but for crappie fishing, you can catch them when it's pretty darn cold out. But it was warm. We had a really warm snap here in November last year.
Yeah.
So we were hammering crappie, man, way up into November. It was wonderful, and they were so good. They were the best. But I don't do a lot of fishing in the summertime. I just kind of hole up in the house and wait for the fairer weather to come.
Is that the majority of your fishing is crappie fishing?
That is what I love to do most. And bluegill as well. But crappie is my favorite. Bluegill is second. Bass are third. I like to rubber worm fish for bass. And I like to keep fish to eat. So that's why I like crappie fishing and bluegill fishing so much. These bass fishermen, I mean, it looks like work to me. They're out there casting and reeling in, and as quick as they get it in, they throw it back. And if I bass fish, I actually trophy fish. I fish with the rubber worm with a big, pretty good sized rig, and I'm trying to catch a lunker if I'm bass fishing usually. Yeah,
I got you. That makes sense. My favorite way to bass fish is topwater. I mean, I love when that water is nice and just like glass, and you can throw out topwater and just have them splash up on it. I think.
Yes, that is fun.
That's about the only bass fishing I do aside from like crankbaits here and there.
Okay. Well, that was a little side hustle I had last year. We had my dad raises fish in cages. They're hybrid striped bass, and he's got an aquaculture license where he can sell them. Really? And we found out that you could sell largemouth bass also with that license, and for $5 a pound, believe it or not.
What?
Yes. So those pounders that guys are catching and can't wait to chuck back and into the water, man, them are $5 bills they're throwing back in the water. If you're set up for it, which he already is. But his pond, he keeps aerated for the caged fish. And then the feed that he feeds them is this floating. It looks like the catfish feed you get at the farm store, but it's high quality stuff, Purina, especially made for these kind of fish. They splash out into the water, and then the loose panfish clean that up, and so they get huge, and then the largemouth get huge in there. And he had this duckweed crop that covered the whole pond last year, and those bass would hide under that, and they were completely comfortable, and you could just walk along and dangle a rubber worm out there just right on the surface, and you just go walking along, and then sometimes they would just come out of there and slam it. I mean, these are 5-pound fish. I mean, that was a blast. So last summer I did do a lot of fishing, but it was sort of for a living. How's that for a job, man? That's a fun job. But I mean, it is kind of a hassle. Once you catch them, you've got to keep them in a cage, and then you've got to keep them alive until they bring the truck because they buy them live, and harvesting them out of that cage is kind of an ordeal. And we could do a whole show just on that. But basically, you have to put a tarp around it and clove oil them, get them to where they don't fin and freak out, and then you crank it up with chain hoists onto the dock and dip them out of there. But, and we probably sold, can't remember what it was, over 100 pounds of largemouth.
So you're catching, you catch wild largemouth?
Yeah.
You're allowed to put them in your thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then you're able to sell them?
If you have this license.
Huh.
You test them. I mean, there's some stuff that he has to go through anyway for doing what he does. You have to catch like 50 fish, but they can be a little smaller ones too, and they test them. You have to send them to the state, to the lab, and make sure you don't have disease and whatnot. And you're gonna ahead of time. But once you go through the steps and the hoops, you're set up. The only trouble is it's a yearly license, and so you have to renew every year. And like I'm sure you've been following the headlines what a mess our state is. But like I applied about a week before the deadline because I figured, knowing our state, I'll apply in April and they'll give me a license for 10 days for 17 from April and then May it would expire. So I'm like, I got to wait till May to get my license. And then of course I haven't heard back from them. So I don't have the license this year. So I haven't pursued that, but but I would go along there with the rubber worm. And then once I got a little boil there, you'd work that, and then you just jerk them 5-pounders out of there. Man, it was fun. I could have people come and just pay fish for the size that they were. It was a blast.
You could charge them $5 a head to catch the fish, and then get $5 a pound after you fly it.
I like the way you think, Jason. Man, I'm an entrepreneur like that too. I'm always looking at the monetization angle.
I guess I just had no idea that there was a commercial demand for largemouth bass.
I didn't either. I had no idea.
So could I don't know, obviously you don't know the laws in my state, so theoretically I could go get this license and just pound the lakes and catch bass, and do they have to be sold to them live, or could I fillet them and then sell the meat?
Okay, that's one problem, at least in this state, and I would just about bet you couldn't do that there. They had to come from our farm. They couldn't be from I couldn't go to other lakes and catch them. We were catching them just out of this one pond.
Oh, okay.
The license, you have to describe your farm to them, and when you apply and different things. So and it's possible. I know guys do that though. It may be a separate license, but guys do. You can register as a whatever wild caught fisherman and sell them, I think. But I don't know if that would be different or not. Man, you could look into it. I think your DNR would be a place to start.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I don't think I catch enough bass to make any money off of it. But
normally that's it. But this pond it was a perfect storm last year. I think with that duckweed, and they had all gotten mature about the same time, and we were killing them last year. Probably a once in a lifetime thing. I don't know. I think it'd be a lot of work to actually set it up where you were raising enough to make a decent side income on.
Right.
But it was still fun, man. It's like, find you a job you love and you never work a day in your life type of thing.
Yeah, that's what we're all after, ain't it?
Yeah. And the other thing on that, if you wanted to pursue that, there's this co-op on the fish selling that Dad does that's through the Southern Illinois Carbondale, south of us. There's this co-op that you're involved with, so it has to do with the school too. So you might check any universities that are around you and see if they have a division that you could, and that's where I'd probably start, talk to some people.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. Like I said, I'm not sure if it'd be something I'd follow through with, but I would just like to see what the kind of opportunity there is for something like that in Ohio, just to kind of know. You never know what the future could hold. I could be living on some property with a pond in 5 years, so.
No doubt. That's where we all want to live, man. I'm lucky there, too. I built one a few years ago. I've got about an acre pond here at my house, and love it. We swim in it.
That's it, man. That's what I told my wife. Because we actually just bought this home we live in now 3 years ago, and she is already getting to that point, like saying, "Oh, I think we've outgrown this house. We need to move into a bigger house. We need to start looking for a new house." I told her, I'm like, "Look, I am not moving again until we can afford a house on a nice chunk of land and a pond.
Yes.
I'm not doing it. The next time we move and buy a house is going to be our final home. I'm not. That's where I want to end up. That's where we're going to be."
Amen. That's where I'm at, man. Unless my state decides that I just have to turn my entire paycheck over to them, and then they dole $5 back out to me. I think that's where we're headed with the tax hikes that are coming. So I don't want to say never. I could also see moving to Kentucky and being able to hunt those beautiful elk down there down the road sometime. But yeah, for now, I'm pretty much where I'm going to be. I'm definitely in the house in Illinois where I'm going to be until the nursing home, until they drag kicking and screaming, try to get me to the nursing home.
Yeah, I donate my $40 every year to the Kentucky Elk Federation down there, trying for a tag. I know it'll most likely never happen being out of state, but
Boy, it's just a handful they give out, isn't it?
I want to say, I mean, I was looking at the odds of being drawn for out of state last year, and I think it was 1 in 1,000.
Okay, well that's not unheard of. You could do that.
Could. If you got if you've got 1,000 years, yeah, you'll get it once.
Yeah, well, we had a bobcat season. They just started for the first time in Illinois last year, and I put in for that just for the heck of it, and I didn't get one, but I do know a guy that did. They didn't have very many. He got a tag, and he killed one. So
really?
That was pretty sweet. Way to go, Troy. Shout out to Troy.
How do they go
I don't know
about
if he listens to this or not.
Probably not.
Yeah, you kind of grill people, and they're like, yeah. I heard you were doing that podcast thingy. What is that thing you do? And I'm like, you never heard it, have you? No.
It's funny because I noticed how you said that, it was a lot of family at first. I kept my podcast from my family for about 4 episodes. I didn't let anybody know. I mean, besides my wife obviously knew, but like as far as like my parents, my brothers, my sisters, my uncles, like nobody knew about the podcast until, like I said, until about episode 5 or 6, I started telling people. I just kind of want. It's one of those things that I didn't want. I didn't want everybody I know to know I did it until I knew I didn't suck at it.
Right. Dude, yours is my favorite one of mine to listen to. I'm not just saying that.
Oh, you're just saying that.
No, I'm not. I love your podcast. It is the exact kind that I like. And trust me, I have unsubscribed from a bunch of podcasts. I've just got a handful that I like. I'm very picky with that. And man, you know how some of them come up on your thing and you're like, whatever. And you like work around them and they hang on there, and I'm like, why do I even subscribe to this? I don't even want to listen to it. And then there's others that when they pop on there, they're like, bam.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, and yours is an immediate one, man.
I'm glad to hear that. That means a lot. I'm glad I'm doing a little bit of something right.
Keep doing it. Keep on doing it.
We're about at 53 minutes in now, Chris. So
holy cow. Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
It's like talking with an old friend, Jason.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad I'm having a lot of fun myself.
Yeah.
So I feel like that I've kind of been doing a lot of the questions here. I know it's your show too, so you can have the last 7 minutes. No, I'm just joking.
Any questions? No, Your Honor. Interest.
No.
So you want me to ask you a question now?
If you have any, I mean, we can go over. I don't have to stop at an hour. If you're good to keep going, I'm good to keep going. My wife and boys are off at the park, so I'm good to keep going.
Sweet.
I actually, got some feedback from the one I did with Steve. I'm not saying we got to go an hour and 45 minutes like Steve did, but I was worried when I posted a podcast that was an hour and 45 minutes long that nobody would even think about listening to it. But I've had a lot of people say they really enjoy the longer format.
Yeah. Well, that's back to the whole podcast thing. I mean, it's right there where you left it if you got to quit it anyway. So, I can see the longer aspect of it. I just keep mine short just out of laziness, man. I'm like, okay, that's enough now.
No, I think there's definitely a place for a short one like yours as well. You know, like if you got that 15-minute drive, you're going home from work, and it's like, oh shit, Chris released a new podcast. Let's see what he had to say, and it's done in over 15 minutes. And you cram a lot of information and a lot of tips into 15 minutes. Like you could probably pick up just as much useful information out of your 15 minutes as me in an hour and a half.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, you and me too. But I think there's a place for both of them, and I think that both of them kind of have their strengths and weaknesses. Now, in my list of podcasts, if I do know that I've got about a half-hour window, and I see some that are 20 minutes, and I see one that's an hour and 20 minutes, I'm going to pick the 20-minute one. And I think that's kind of what I was thinking. Just it might get it out there a little bit quicker that way. But no, I think it probably works either way. Look at Dan Carlin, back to him. his are freaking marathons.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're new at it. That's one of the things that we're getting really inside baseball here on this podcast stuff. But if they're still listening, they're all right with it. So that was one of the things that I read about when I first started. Is like, well, if you're just starting out and nobody knows who you are, you should really keep your podcast short, because you can't expect somebody to want to listen to you for an hour if they have no idea who you are. But I kind of totally ignored that advice and just said, screw it, I'm gonna just talk to people. I didn't really expect anybody to listen. So
what I screwed up on was I didn't tailor it to an audience like I would have been. If I would have been thinking, I would have got into Twitter more right from the get-go, and I didn't even know anything about Twitter. I was a Facebook guy. I got into Twitter.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
I'm a recovering. I'm a Twitter convert. I don't get onto Facebook hardly at all now. After I've compared the two, I didn't know what a community there was out there on Twitter that actually were people with shared interests and will actually engage and talk to you, and not just like your stuff and move on to. I think on Facebook you could put, I'm going to go drown some puppies here in a little bit. I think 17 people would like that and move on down the road and never even comment. I think they're reading your stuff.
The thing that I always told my wife is, I was never into Facebook either. I never had a Facebook page. And I think I always told my wife when she would be going through it and telling us something, I was like, what the hell is it about Facebook to where everybody on Facebook is either has the best life in the world or they got the worst life in the world.
Exactly. Can you give me something in the middle?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle on everything.
Anybody ever wake up, say, yeah, kind of mediocre day, shit twice, went to bed early, see you guys tomorrow.
Right. Where are those people? You're right, though, man. It's either a highlight reel or it's like their diary. I'm like, this should not be your diary. You need a friend.
Yes.
These people aren't your friends. You need a real friend. You need to go talk to them, have a drink with them, confide in them some of this stuff. This is not for the interwebs.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about Twitter is the 140 characters make it kind of eliminates that kind of nonsense and bullshit,
It's genius, and I think it was by accident, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
Some software glitch, I think, originally. I mean, I don't think that was their intent originally, but they've kept it that way because it does do that. It narrows it down so nice. But those guys on there are fantastic, and it's wild. You feel like you know these people after interacting with them for a while, and the podcasts are the same way, man. I feel like I know you too. I don't think you're a 400-pound Russian guy that's like trying to hack into my life. I might be wrong.
Well, I've done hacking into your life, and you don't really have anything that I could make it.
Exactly. Exactly. Move on to some low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, we really do got a pretty good community out there on Twitter. Like I said, everybody's always, like you said, everybody's always willing to give feedback. And like I said, I can't be more thankful of how supportive they have been over the show. And I saw you're getting some good feedback too. So
I got a shout out to Steve because I left him out in my last episode when I did the shout outs. I did the Ronnie and Jake and you, and I left Steve out. Man, I'm sorry, brother. I love you, brother.
I'm sure he's the king of shout outs, so.
Oh man, he is. Sorry. That little dead space there was my son pestering me.
That's quite all right, man. I've definitely been there before. And anybody who's listened to my show has heard my boy screaming in the background on several occasions.
Yeah, again, it's like I don't want the NPR style. I don't need that. I don't need the ultra produced and the whole production team. It just makes me crazy. I want real life stuff. I think that added to it. You remember that video that went viral? It was a few months ago. I think it was a British guy was trying to do a segment, and his kid comes into the photo bombs the segment.
No,
See that?
no, I didn't see
And
it.
that was like the most popular thing ever.
Oh, shit.
And that spoke to me. I'm like, you ought to have real life stuff happening there. I think people relate to that better.
You probably saw it on Facebook.
It was on Facebook. It was his highlight reel.
Yeah, that was kind of like one of the things that I wanted to do with my show was to make it. It's weird saying my show, but that's one of the things I wanted to do with the IHUNT podcast is to bring on real people to share their real hunting experience. The people who are out there hunting on the weekend, who have a 9-to-5 job, like you said, got kids, and hear how they deal with that and the strategies they use to be successful that are different than somebody who is hunting for a TV show for a living. They got everywhere they go, they got outfitters setting them up on the big buck, like you said, and to kind of
exactly,
and to make it more of a conversation like how me and you have had today. Like I felt like there was definitely a need for that in the hunting genre. It seems like a lot of the hunting podcasts are great. I'm not dogging anybody, but it's always set up as like a question and answer type scenario. The topic they're coming on to talk about, and the questions are there, and
I don't like scripted stuff at all.
It's not even necessarily scripted, but it's like I'm bringing you on to talk about pre-rut hunting, and that's what you like. I don't want to know what you're going to talk about. Just start talking.
Right. No, I think you do it good. I like it. And I've noticed that some of them. But you asked about me getting into podcasting. I did a search like on iTunes to try to find some stuff like I was thinking about. I didn't find anything. All of them that I found were these exotic. We're hunting Dall sheep in Montana or wherever they are. It was back to the whole. It wasn't real life for most of us. I mean, few people get to do that. And I didn't find any just basic how-to hunting stuff. Now, I didn't dig too deep, but the ones I found, and that was another thing that told me, like if you were going to do a fitness show or a politics show, it's like there's 3,000 podcasts out there already doing it, dude.
Right.
But the hunting, and that's your passion. That's another obvious reason to do it. But I didn't find a lot of shows like that either. So, man, we parallel a lot. Very similar.
Yeah, that was just, like I said, it was just the only way I could see doing it, because that's all the podcasts I listen to and all the podcasts I like, they're set up that way. It's just conversations. They're not scripted interviews or set up on what the topic is, just interesting people and
Yep.
about what you're into. So
I'm with you, man.
Got anything else for me, man?
Hey, I don't think so. Other than don't be a stranger, because I want to work up we need to cook up some kind of a hunt. I've got plenty of, like I said, I got plenty of space for bow hunting, and that's what you do. So come see me in October. Shotgun season, I'm booked to the max, but we might be able to figure something out. Illinois, like everything else, they kill the out-of-state hunters on license and tag and things like that. But maybe we could figure out a weekend, and it wouldn't be too bad.
What is the out-of-state license out there?
I'd have to look. I can't remember. I do think they have just a weekend one to where you don't have to buy the whole year's worth. But
really,
its website is IDNR. I think used to be ILDNR. I think they took the L off of it. Just if you Google like Illinois Natural Resources, it's on there. But
yeah,
I can find that out for you too. But yeah, I'd love to hunt with you sometime. That'd be a blast.
Yeah, I would love to take you up on that. I know this year I've got a hunt scheduled with Jake up in Wisconsin.
Well, take me with you. I can fit in a suitcase, a big one, like a really big fat one.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind. I think he's got all kinds of room up there, from what it sounds like. No, I'm just joking. Let's see, but yeah, I know I'm planning on doing that in November, and that's going to be like a 5 or 6 day thing, and just a matter of I know out of state license up there. I've already got that bought and stuff, and my way up there. Yeah. Unfortunately, the podcast isn't bringing in a whole lot of change as of yet.
Well, that's kind of a tough sledding, I've found. When I was creeping on your website, it looked like you've got it set up better than I do for that type of stuff. You've got some revenue stuff, some ideas there anyway. I need to, when my kids get back to school, I'm going to have a lot more time to look into that type of stuff and the monetization. I have YouTube videos that go with almost every podcast. I end up talking about something that would be pretty good for a quick little visual. And so I set up a YouTube channel too. And it's called RealWorld Redneck also. But you can monetize that pretty easy, but you've got to have a whole lot of views, which I don't. I just have just a few views on them. But yeah, that's pretty tough to set until you get to, like, what I've heard is when you get to 5,000, then you can start having major advertising. And these guys are behind the curve. If they only knew that advertising with podcast audiences is like 100 times better. A few of them are beginning to catch on, I think.
Yeah, I think that's one thing in the hunting industry that hasn't caught on yet is that a advertisement on a hunting podcast is just going to reach. You're really driving to the actual people you want hearing about your product. I mean, yeah, the numbers aren't going to be as huge as what they were going to get on TV, but I mean, I would imagine the cost per viewer is probably substantially different. I don't know.
Right. No, I think so. It's like if you've already got your audience filtered into the target audience that you want, and it's right there. And I think that's just we may be on the tip of the iceberg on that. I think some of these things are slow to change, and then when they do, boy, it really starts. The momentum builds some momentum. It really changes. Like I can't believe honestly, we're still getting in our car and listening to a radio and listening to like commercials and not being right. A lot of people aren't, but if you have Wi-Fi or whatever, but I'm sitting there like, why haven't the radio stations caught on to this? Why don't they do a Pandora example or the podcast idea where you can just pick it up where you left off and you can still have commercials and things, but let the consumer pick what they want more.
Right.
I think the first one to do that would run away with, and then they'd all start doing it. But yeah, I think there'll be some revenue coming down the road. But that's the reason I asked you about the survival podcast, because he does what you do with the Amazon affiliate. He has that, and he has an actual product of the day that he does, and then he directs people to his link just like you do. And I thought maybe you stole that idea off of him. I was thinking about stealing it too.
No, I mean there's a few shows I listen to that do the Amazon portal thing. And that's just. But I just recently found out somebody had reached out to me and told me that technically I'm not allowed to tell people to go to that link for their general purchases. That it's against Amazon code or something that I have to pick a product.
I know there are really sticky regulations on that because Jack talks about that on his show. He's got it set up just so, and he's had to look into that, I think, with lawyers and stuff. They're picky about that.
Which I'm sure it doesn't mean nothing now with my whole like $5 to $6 I'm bringing in a month. But I imagine if it ever did escalate into something that they would be pulling up my archives and hearing what I said, and they'd probably keep the check anyway. So I don't know. I'm trying to go a different route on that. I've been reaching out to a ton of different brands and products and companies. In this past week, I've really made a effort to try to get sponsors to support the show. I got my little spiel that I've been giving them, and I've got a handful that are interested. I got one that's committing, so
good job. Even if you can make a few dollars, then at least it becomes a business, and you can deduct all your microphone and all that, the startup that we have, and then the Libsyn monthly, and so that's a good start. But just
hey, man, sex, drugs, and money. That's the whole reason I got into podcasting.
Is that right?
Yeah, you didn't know?
Is that why everybody gets into everything?
Right.
I had something on the tip of my tongue. But like for just on that advertising, for example, that Sentinel decoys that you talked about, dude, I'm going to get one of those, and it's because I heard it on your podcast. So I mean, the advertising works. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right. Sentinel decoys. Yeah.
Those things are amazing.
That thing sells itself, though. I mean, yeah, granted, I may have pointed you to check him out, but that thing, if anybody sees it on Twitter, I mean, that thing is going to sell itself. He's got a great product there. And
well, it does, but, when you're scrolling through on Twitter, it's like, you have the attention span of a little puppy, and you're starting moving on to the next thing. So I don't know, if you hadn't focused me to it, I probably would not be buying it, and now I am going to buy it. So I think, I think these advertisers are missing something with podcasts. That they'll wake up.
Did you hear that, sponsors? It worked. Get on your shit. Buy some space.
That was what you wanted me to say, right, Jason? That's what you put in the script. Did I do good?
You did great. We'll cut out this conversation later.
Love it, man.
Yeah, we've went really inside baseball the last 20 minutes. People are going to really be excited on hearing about the ins and outs of podcasting.
Oh, way to go, guys. Run everybody off.
Nah. All right, so I guess.
Hey, man, I'm like old-fashioned bologna. You can cut me off wherever you need to. It works. Still delicious.
Old-fashioned bologna. I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
It used to not be sliced. You used to get a whole big roll of it. Kind of like your summer sausage that you get on your deer when you get your deer back. It used to come in rolls like that. And it's like you making your sandwich. You can either cut off a little sliver if you want it, or you can make it thick, or however you like it. So,
nice big old thick slice of bologna, and it's fried on the skillet.
Right on. Yeah, I just lost all the millennials there talking about old-fashioned bologna. If you got any of them in the audience.
I don't think I have too many millennials listening to the show.
No.
But if you do, I appreciate it.
That's right. I don't mean to. Yeah, I'm not hating on you for sure. So yeah, man, that's great. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. We'll definitely do it again. And yeah, thanks for coming on and having me on your show. I kind of feel like I bogarted your show here for an hour and 15 minutes. So
I think it was perfect. And people you did some good questions, provocative, and people know a little bit more about me and you. And people, if they like my show, they'll like yours, Jason. So I think they'll probably check it out. It is called the IHUNT podcast. RealWorld Redneck. If you're looking for me, guys, when you Google it, just type REAL and then space WRLD. Anywhere you're looking for me, I'm on the YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Not Facebook very much, but Instagram is another one that I haven't messed with much either. But I do have an account there. But however you guys want to connect with me, my email is chris@realworldredneck.com. That's lowercase, just CHRIS @realworldredneck.com.
And I guess I'll show a plug to your listeners. You can follow me on Twitter @the IHUNT Podcast, and just website's www.theihuntpodcast.com. Pretty simple.
I'm going to put links to that on my, when I run it on my show too. So
I will do the same.
Cool.
Funny, but have you how often do you Google search your show?
A lot.
So do I. I'm always Google searching, seeing I wonder if I've made it anywhere else on the web that I don't know about yet.
Well, I was it's funny you mentioned that. I just did it, getting ready for this show. I was like, well, once my call to action, I need to be able to at least say it, what I am, right? How to find me. And I went into Instagram and did the search, and I just typed real, REAL, and bam, there I was on top. So
well, I think, isn't it filter it to your preferences, though? So, yeah, it's going to be on top.
Oh, thanks, man. Wet blanket. I got enough of them in my life already. No, but I do. I like to Google it and look and check that out. Same way with iTunes, which I thought iTunes was real popular. There's a native web, there's a native podcast player that comes on iPhones, but the people I run around with, they act like I hate Apple. I don't have iPhone. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever,
Yeah.
Stitcher, Google Play, whatever, man. I'm everywhere that'll have me.
Yeah, like I said, I've gotten a habit of doing the Google search only because it's like, the mushroom hunting podcast with Jake.
Yeah.
it was up for a while, and like about 3-4 weeks after it was up, and you know as well as I do that, after your first 2-3 days, you see a drop in downloads.
Right.
All of a sudden, it hit a spike.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, where the hell is the spike coming from? Why has he got 80 downloads today? So I searched, and some mushroom hunting website had put my podcast up on it. Just out of the blue.
SEO, baby.
And I'm like, sweet. So now I find myself every 2 days searching for the IHUNT podcast. And any other site put me on there. But
Yeah. But there's a lot of tricks like that I could get. I haven't messed with my website very much, to be honest with you. I wanted to keep it pretty simple, too. And I think there's a lot that you and I could probably do to get people to find us more. But it's like there's only so many hours in the day, right? This is a side hustle.
Right.
It's an extreme side hustle.
Yeah. I think I threw together the basic website on Libsyn.
Yeah. Well, I found out afterwards, after I'd already signed up with Wix and made me just a little bare bones one, whatever the low rate, basic rate one is. I found out that Libsyn gives you one, and I could have just used that.
Yeah.
But I kind of like owning my domain, too. I want.
Oh, I own my domain.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. You can do that without having the website, can't you?
Yeah.
Show my ignorance.
And then somehow you got to appoint the host or something. I don't know. I called technical support, and they done it all too for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, we've been talking about podcasting for the last 40 minutes, so I'm sure everybody's probably ought to tune this out, turn it off, or what.
Oh,
it was a lot of fun.
Just for entertainment.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, Jason, and I'll be listening to you, and I'll be catching you on Twitter every day, man.
I'll be doing the same. Like I said, my listeners, check out his show, The Real World Redneck, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Twitter, all that. Check out his show. If you got 15 minutes, you can listen to his show. So,
right on.
Right on, brother. Well, you take care, and we'll definitely do it again sometime.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Jason.
All right. Okay, guys, that's it. That's the show. I told you guys it was going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Chris for coming on and chatting with me. Thanks to my sponsors, Campfire TP Grill. Check it out at tpgrills.com. Thanks to audible.com. Don't forget to go to my website, www.theihuntpodcast.com, and click my Audible banner for your free 30-day trial. And next week we got Lindsay Perisco coming on the show to talk about getting fit for the hunting season. So follow along on Twitter and submit your questions that you may have for her. And we'll see you next week, guys. Hey, thanks for listening and have a beautiful week.